live. Excellent connection. Going live. 3, 2, 1. Going live. You're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you. I got Zig Zag Zilla again tonight. We're going to talk more about gardening. And we got Grandpa Brian, who's also going to talk about some of his gardening, which surprised me earlier in the show tonight before we got going that he is planting again. So we got to hear all about that stuff. So thank you guys for coming on tonight. We got a great show ahead, and we got people piling in left and right. We got Mary Wins. We got Big Al, who's on the road to Atlanta. Lucky Smith, who's giving us great affirmations. And Jules is in the house. Mary Wins, who wanted me to talk about one thing before we get going. And she wants me to, oh, where did it go? I had it right. Disappeared on me. Oh, here it is. She wants to talk about Jan Sue tonight. She's got the link to her PayPal account. She really needs some help. She only received $20 in donations this week, and she's being evicted. Even though her landlady knows she's found a new job, but won't be paid until the 2nd of September. Them landladies are crooked. Nobody has a thing of, man, please go and donate to her. Mary Wins, put that in the thing tonight. If I had I guess there's a link to it somewhere. Yeah, I got a link here. But anyway, if I can figure out, I'll put it in here somewhere. But help somebody out. This apparently, if Mary Wins says this lady needs some help, apparently she needs some help. So throw her a few bucks. Maybe she can come up with half. And if we come up with the other half, life will be good for her. And I know we all don't have a lot of money to pull her in out of our pockets, but if you could scrape together a couple bucks and do that, go right ahead. And that's what I got to say. Thank you for Mary Wins for trying to help this lady out. She must really need some help. And if Mary says she's a good person, I believe her. So anyway, back to the show. So anyway, how's the gardening going? Either one of you guys. I want to hear. Okay. Zig Zag Zilla, tell me. Okay.
It's been going good.
Yeah. Oh, good. Have you had problems
like we were
with
talking
grasshoppers?
Earlier? No.
No. Oh, we got lots here.
No.
Terrible.
What I had trouble with, I had a groundhog dig underneath my fence. So he pretty much destroyed my cantaloupe.
Oh.
Which, yeah.
And we can't help it. Critters do things, and you put up a fence and they go underneath it. So
yeah.
So do you got critters there by you in North Carolina?
No, I mean, I do, but the whole thing is I have like 7 cats that live in my garden.
You got the cats. Yeah,
but
right.
they look like, for example, this morning I got up at like 6 in the morning and I go outside and one of them is literally playing with a mouse. And I'm like, wow, look at this. Like those little things I'm actually pretty grateful for, to be honest with you, because it's a little bit of a burden off my shoulders. Like they keep the groundhogs at bay. They keep all that kind of stuff out at bay. I mean, I got 45 melons as far as cantaloupes go and about 15 honeydew. And watermelons, I mean, forget it. I mean, I think I lost count. Somewhere in the 60s as far as watermelons going. I still have watermelons outside ripening. Wow. I haven't had any problems, man. Wow. This has been a very, very great year for harvesting because, I mean, I focused on berries, melons, basically just the fruits. And right now I've got muscadines that sometime in the next couple of days I'm going to be harvesting, which I'm actually very excited for because I've already harvested the Mars Globe grapes, as you saw in the last video. But yeah, it's been a great year. I mean, again, I love doing fruits because they're just a little bit easier than the greens. I did do carrots and beets and whatnot. I've been doing juices with them with the cucumbers. And once again, I mean, I got to tell you, the cats are like workers for me outside. I'm dead ass.
Yeah. Yeah, cats. Now you got bowls. I know my parents, they would say they have bowls. And they're like a field mouse, but only bigger.
Oh yeah.
That's what lives out in the garden is the voles. And they eat the vegetables. They'll eat the beets right from under the ground and stuff like that. They'll eat on the tomatoes and all kinds of crazy stuff. Grandpa Brian, maybe you should get some cats. Or a dog, one or the other.
Well, I'm not. Yeah, well, I live 70 miles away from the cabin, so it'd be kind of hard just to leave them down here through the week.
That's
Especially there's a lot of coyotes down there, so yeah, not a good thing.
Truth Seeker says, how do you keep the deer, squirrel, and rabbits away from the produce? You got a fence, don't you? You do have a fence.
Yes, I do.
Good fence. Yeah, that you can keep out. That's for sure.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I've had a problem with the grasshoppers this year. Can't keep a fence in them, man. But we're getting into harvest season, and now we're thinking of picking all our stuff. I was just out there today picking some carrots and some beets and some onions. And you're telling me that you're planting again? Explain this. This is crazy. I never heard of somebody planting this time of year, unless you lived in like Florida.
Oh, the fall crop.
Yeah, fall crop.
The stuff that you plant early spring, like your cabbage, cauliflower, turnips, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. You start them at seed. In my zone, I started them about 4 weeks ago. So they're ready to put in the ground, and I'll be harvesting them come October and November. And that is a good time, especially if you're going to do onions from seed, is to throw your seed down in October and November. And then when it comes time in the fall, they're already in the ground and starting to bulb up and come up.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff that you can plant in the fall. You can actually probably plant right now, also cucumber again. You can plant it and you'll get a harvest off of them. Not a whole lot, but you'll still get a harvest off of them.
Yeah, the problem with with those plants, like for example, like the cucumbers, I've noticed, like planting them now, is they'll get that powdery mildew is what they're very susceptible to like right now, from what I've noticed. But yeah, you could absolutely can still get a harvest out of them. I also noticed that some of the things are better planted in the fall, like now, particularly because when you plant them too early in the season, they end up going through something called bolting, which they go to flower right away because of the extreme heat. So that's why some of the stuff like carrots and beets and those things are very, very good crop to plant in the fall, and cucumbers do well also, but you just gotta maintain that little powdery mildew on them. But other than that, I mean, I still got stuff growing now. What I am sad about that's not coming out anymore, my blackberries. I'm like, that's my favorite thing to eat is blackberries. I mean, I make so many juices out of them, it's insane.
Wow. I gotta find out what to do with. I got a lot of beets and they're huge, and they're besides, I don't know what else to do with them besides pickle them. Is there anything else you could do with beets? Maybe juice them, I guess.
I juice them.
Yeah.
Especially, juicing them is phenomenal. But one of the best things is they're one of the best detoxifiers to like actually cleanse out your body of like even heavy metals, which a lot of people are always trying to find supplements for. But if you take some beets, they do very well in cleansing your blood out, and that's something to look into. You'll poop. I remember I ate beets one time and I forgot I ate beets and I thought I was dying because I'm gonna poop. I pooped red. And I was like, damn, bro, what the hell's going on?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know if you eat beets and stuff, you pee kind of reddish too. So yeah, nothing to worry about it. It's going through your system. It's good for you. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a tour of my garden here. And share sound and optimize video. Okay, here we go. My ground is really hard, so it takes a lot to get the carrots out.
Ooh.
The carrots are stuck in there like glue, I swear. You guys got that hard a time getting your carrots out?
Yeah, that is
not at all.
Carrots.
No.
Yeah. Nice big carrots.
We just do not want to come out of the ground.
Let's go pull an onion. Or a beet. Let's pull a beet.
I got really nice looking beets. I am so proud of my beets. They grew so well. Perfect.
Look at that beet.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's a nice beet.
And then I got these really big ones.
Ooh.
All the rest of them grew huge.
Got some more big beets. Here.
Look at them. They're just so big.
Look at these. They're just popping right out of the ground. Holy cow. And we're going to go pull an onion. Time for the harvesting.
Nice big onions too.
Ooh, yeah, we got little peppers. Little peppers. We got some cauliflower.
Yeah, look at that nice white cauliflower. Looks like just like in the grocery store.
Right there.
And then you got the other cauliflower that's a little older. Okay, maybe you guys know how am I supposed to keep the cauliflower white?
I should have put some stuff on cauliflower. It's breakfast. Here's some white cauliflower. That's looking really good.
Well, this is like going right through my garden. Look at that. It's gonna be breakfast in the morning.
We're gonna go find some tomatoes.
Look at all my tomatoes. They turn into these huge bushes. I put those cages up and they just outgrew them. I got lots of cherry tomatoes. Tons of little cherry tomatoes.
All kinds of them in there. Getting red.
I didn't have that many big tomatoes, but I had plenty of the cherry tomatoes.
Yeah, that's tomatoes in there.
Some of them grew really good size too for cherry tomatoes. They didn't even have cracks or rots or nothing. Best tomatoes that exist here. Usually they don't ever get ripe. I mean, they barely get ripe, and then
Overripe.
they're all green. They never get ripe because it's frost every year. Well, we're way behind you guys because I'm so far north.
Yep.
You're what? Probably, 500, 600, 700 miles south of me, maybe.
Look at all that.
I would say.
I love those little
Got the chickens running around to eat all the darn grasshoppers.
Now we're gonna pick some purple potatoes.
Oh, and I had the phenomenal potatoes. Doesn't look like much on the. I just scraped my hand in there. Look
Nice
at all,
purple
Look at all those
potatoes.
purple potatoes.
Potatoes. There we go. Go.
Just full of them. I did those in my raised bed. The purple ones. And that way the dirt's a lot easier to, because that's all potted soil I put in there.
It's just one little hole.
That's me lunch tomorrow with my chicken. Yeah. A lot of them in there. But purple potatoes are supposed to be more healthy, aren't they? Or something. They got more protein or starch, not starch, but they got something better than normal. Don't I know there's something special about purple.
Well, there we go. We got a nice little pile of potatoes for one little handful. Nice purple ones.
Did you plant any purple potatoes or any potatoes?
There we go. The sunflowers.
No.
No.
I planted sweet potatoes.
My bad.
Sweet potatoes. Yeah, I can't grow those. And look at my sunflowers. They got eaten by the grasshoppers so bad they're just eating everything.
And the flowers.
My flowers. There you go. Look
Wow.
at that. Yeah, but anyway, well, I hope you all enjoyed that. It was best I could do for a tour of my garden and a little setup there. But if anybody else has garden stuff out there and they would like to take some pictures or video and send it to me, I'd be happy to play it and let everybody know what kind of nice garden you got. So anyway, I'm always looking for good ideas, you know, like up north here. Remember when we got together this spring and we were planting stuff, and I says I knew the top stuff. That's why I didn't plant any cucumbers. Every year I planted cucumbers, I've gotten little ones, and they always have they're all crooked like, and they're just small, and I might get a handful of them, you know, and nothing grows. My buddy who lives just south of here, about 80 miles, he's getting tons of cucumbers. And I just never have any luck. So
I noticed that your soil looks like it's a little bit too compact, and when it's too compact, the roots don't have room to basically spread out and grow, and that can actually cause your fruit to be smaller. So you got to make sure that your soil is loosened up, or you know, add peat moss, something perlite, vermiculite, something that can loosen up the soil.
Okay.
Because that actually dehydrates your plant also. So that if it's not uptaking enough water, then it's also going to come out very small. I noticed your cauliflower was a little small too, and that's because of the soil. You know, it's got to be a little looser, a little bit more moist. It looked very dry. You know what I'm saying? Just you know, I'm just giving you advice. I'm not trying to.
Oh no. Yeah, that top part. The top part of that soil, we got a lot of clay here. So like the top part of that soil, about that far in, is like a rock. That's why I had to use the thing to break it open. And then after that, it's all nice and moist under there. You know,
right, but the whole thing is you gotta be careful, because like, let's say even when it's that hard, it's retaining the moisture underneath, but like when it rains, it won't like absorb that water. It's just
that is so true. When I water the garden for the first, I don't know, 20 minutes, most of it runs off, and then it finally starts soaking in. I mean, it's on a hill a little bit, so it kind of just runs right off of the garden. Go figure.
But everything looked nice, though. I mean, everything looked nice overall. You know.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I try. My corn only got a little over waist high, but I got a bunch of nice ears out of it, and you know, and it was really good. I mean, it didn't look like much, but I got quite a bit.
I was planning to do a garden tour this week, but just so that everybody knows, because I was like uploading a video a day like last week, but I'm on YouTube quarantine right now, so I got a community strike for the last video I did, you know, and it got taken down, and I have to wait a week before I post anything. So I was gonna upload a garden video, but it's all good. I'm just waiting that week out. I got probably like another 4 days and shit. So
I see. But anyway, yeah, you know, that's the thing is YouTube is funny like that. You gotta watch what you say. And I know you get on some good rants there, which I really appreciate, because you know, some of this stuff really has to be said. It really does. You know, it's just
that video that got taken down was very see, the thing is, I got lost in it because I really wasn't even thinking as I was doing it. But what happened is that because I wasn't thinking, I didn't think to make a disclaimer and tell people that I'm a dumbass and not listen to me or follow anything I say. You know, I'm not a medical doctor or anything like that. So I have to like always make those disclaimers because, you know, we talk about free speech, but the whole thing is if like the information you put out doesn't fall in line with their philosophies as far as like pharmaceutical goes, then of course you have to make a disclaimer. I didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just basically going with the flow. When I start thinking, of course, the ego kicks in. You know, what does the ego do? Survival, flight or flight mechanism kicks in. So you tend to protect your channel, and just like you would protect your body in case of emergency. So, you know, I didn't make a disclaimer, and that's what happened, you know. But I'm going to redo the video because I had a lot of really good information there. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's a lot of this stuff that I don't demonize anything from the pharmaceutical industry or doctors or anything like that. It's more or less integrating things, and then you kind of like start utilizing everything. Like everything is useful. It's just when we start to polarize towards certain ideas, this is where we start to create a separation, and we start to create and you know, words are strong, man. It's like it's also how you word things. You can word things where, you know, you're in the interest of building on conversation or, you know, debating. And I kind of went into a neutral zone, except I just didn't make a disclaimer. You know how people say words are, you know, words are power, but you know, people say, you know, you're a man of your word. Those are fighting words, or, you know, those are, you know, words of wisdom or words of intelligence, whatever it may be. They're words, but it's how you structure them. They're all tools. I just put out the information, and, you know, it is what it is. Gotta wait. And I'm gonna redo the video, and then I'll put my gardening video too. So
yeah, can't wait. Let's see, what was it? Oh yeah, so when we're getting to harvest, this is going to be the end of the season. You know, people are picking their products and things like that, and especially like me, you know, what do you suggest that I do to the soil? You know, maybe like you said, mix some lighter material, some peat or stuff in there. And then we're putting up these products, you know, canning. Do either one of you can? I mean, I've canned. I haven't done any this year yet. You do? What do you can?
Yep.
A little bit of everything, or
I can green beans. I've canned salsa. I've made up a lot of salsa this year.
Yeah.
I'm most likely going to, when I get my harvest of cauliflower, because I'm planting a lot of cauliflower, I'm going to start pickling cauliflower. I believe next year, since I picked so many cucumbers this year, I mean, I was given anywhere from 15 to 20 away every week.
Wow.
I'm going to start doing pickles next year.
Nice. My parents put up a lot of cucumbers and pickling and stuff like that. So that's, you know, Mary Wynn says, Grandpa Brian, how many green beans did you yield? I know you had a whole bunch planted. We've seen all of them.
Right. I only ended up, I think, 15 quarts. Where my garden is now, I'm actually moving it because trees have grown up, and I started getting to where I wasn't getting a lot of sunlight on it before I could pick the last picking of green beans. They were already getting mold on them. So I just basically let them all go. Because once they start getting them little black spots, they're not
they're not as good,
fresh, and they don't snap. And if your bean's not snapping, then it's not fresh. But to get back to your cauliflower, when they start to get that little head on them, you take your leaves and you bring them all up together and you tie them. So that way it covers the head, and that'll keep your head white and not let it get that pinkish, grayish, brownish color.
See, I did that to some of them, and I pinned them up and I put clothespins on the top, but they still turn that pinkish, you know, color with the yellowish, pinkish color, whatever it is, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I was thinking maybe there was a better way. People put bags over them, or should I put what, you know, if there was something else besides just pinning the leaves up?
Yeah, I've always just pinned the leaves up.
Pin the leaves up. Okay, maybe I just didn't do it right. So I'll try next year. There's always a next year. But you know, the big reason we're planting this year and we're working on it so hard is because, you know, they're all talking about this food shortage coming. It's really important. You know, this winter, we all had that big scare of 2020, which we ain't even going to say that word out loud because we don't want to be removed off of YouTube. But you know what I'm talking about, the cerveza bug. And, you know, to keep ourselves healthy, we're going to eat good, organic, homegrown vegetables. And we're going to grow our own gardens. And I hope that everybody next year tries to do something, grow a pot full of, tomatoes, you know, or something. I mean, Zig Zag, you grow it in pots out there. I seen you had them things, you know. Is it any worse or better growing in a pot?
No, when you grow in pots, the only difference is that you won't get as many. The fruit won't be as big. You know, you got to take into account the amount of space the roots have to grow. So I tried everything. I experimented. Like I grew watermelons and cantaloupes in the pots. They just came out a lot smaller. You get what I'm saying? And then the watermelons came out a lot smaller, and I only got one out of each vine. Where, you know, if I planted it in the soil, then you know, you get a hell of a lot more. But I mean, it's a start. It's a good way to start. I got grapes right now that I'm growing in pots, and then some that I'm growing in the soil. But you know, it all comes down to, you know, do whatever you can do, you know. And the beauty part is that everybody can grow something. And the beauty part about it is that we know what, you know, here, and you can ask us for advice or any little bit of information that can help you out. We can help you with whatever it is you want to grow and whatnot. And but yeah, you can do pots, soil, whatever you want. It's just make sure you condition your soil. Like if you have a chance to go on YouTube and learn how to compost, I mean, that's a huge advantage you'll have, you know, because you don't have to spend money on fertilizers. You don't have to do a bunch of stuff. You can, you know, mow your lawn and get grass clippings, and that's, you know, mulch for you. Like you don't have to buy none of this stuff. You can just, you know, make do with what you got. There's little tricks here and there. Get cardboard, put them over your soil, and that protects your soil also. So, but any other questions, I mean, you can always ask us.
Oh yeah. You know, I know a lot of people grow tomatoes in pots. They seem to do well. Like I had if you've seen my garden there in the pictures, I got some raised beds, and I'm finding out that certain vegetables or for certain things don't grow so good in the raised beds as they do in the regular garden. Like I had onions in the raised beds, and they didn't grow worth a crap, but yet the ones in the garden are huge. You know, I mean, I watered them just as much. The radishes I had carrots in the raised bed, and they didn't do as good as the ones that were in the garden this year. The potatoes, they seem to do good either way. What else did I plant I planted my lettuce and my radishes in the raised beds, and they seem to do pretty good that way. I planted kale in a raised bed, and that did really good too. And the Swiss chard too. Yeah. Things like that. So those were my experiences. But like I said, I got different soil here than you do there. I mean, each person has to learn their soil. You know, I think that's really important. Like you were saying, you know, if you got hard soil, you need to mix it up. And I know, like when I plant the little seeds in the garden, that last year I made a little trough row, and then I put the potting soil in there, and then I planted my little seeds. But then this year I says, oh, I don't think I need that, and I planted it, and then a lot of them didn't come up because I think the soil was too hard for the little seeds to come up. So
if the soil's too hard, you're definitely gonna have a problem sprouting those seeds. 100%.
Yeah.
That's why most people even start their seeds in peat moss, you know?
Yes. Well, you got a lot of your stuff out in your gardens, and then you got it mulched too, really heavy, don't you? There, it looked like it.
I swear I manifested that, because when I got here, I mean, I wanted to do that no dig method.
Yeah.
I don't till or anything like that. but I wanted to do the back to Eden method where I put the cardboard down, and what I did was I just throw the wood chips on top, and that in and of itself, like whatever grass was under there, that's like a compost. And not only, the worms love the cardboard.
Oh,
Plus all
yeah.
that mulch on top. I mean, you're basically conditioning the soil there. So the year after, what I do is I dig a hole, and then I throw some of my compost in that hole, and then I start to dig that hole. That's where I start planting my seeds. But here's why I manifested the mulch, because I was like, man, I went to Lowe's and they're expensive for that. And not only that, but they have dyes, and I didn't want none of that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to hold off. I'm just holding off. And I kept it in my mind. I already knew how I wanted my garden to look. I wanted it to have like wood chips everywhere. So I'm at the gym and I'm talking to this one dude, and he was telling me about my accent, and I'm like, yeah, I'm from New York. He's like, what are you doing in North Carolina? And I told him, there's pros and cons about it. And I started telling him that I got into gardening, which is one of the big things I love about what I'm doing down here. And he's like, yeah, I meet a lot of gardeners. And, and then when he told me that, I was like, oh shit, I got a lot in common with this guy. I found another gardener. But what he told me was that he owns a tree company and he talks to a lot of gardeners. And when he told me that, I'm like, man, I need wood chips. And he told me, look, tell me where you're at. I got so many wood chips, I don't even know what to do with them. And this year I had 3 truckloads of wood chips. Last year I had about 3 or 4. And whenever I need wood chips, I text them and I tell him, hey, do you have any available? And within like 3 days, he's over here with a truckload of wood chips. And then I got that to spread it like everywhere,
Wow. Yeah.
So like if weeds start coming up, all I do is just take cardboard, throw it on top of the weeds, and then throw more of those wood chips, and it just takes care of that problem for me, because I don't use any chemicals. I don't do none of that weed killers or anything like that. All I do is just keep throwing wood chips on top, and I have the luxury of just getting it whenever I want. Like I said, I manifested that because I just kept it in my mind. I feel like that was just something that it's like people call it coincidence, but it just happened so perfectly. When I needed it, I got it, and at this moment when I need it, I got it.
Yep.
And I feel like it's like that with a lot of the things that I do in the garden now. Even the cats happen to pop out of nowhere to protect things that I had growing, just because I don't use any chemicals. Like things just like I always have this belief that the ecosystem balances stuff out. And I guess they love the way the environment is in my garden, that they just like living there. They don't mess with my, so I let them live there,
Yeah, that's a good idea with the no-till. Gaza Cav, he's in Australia, and he says the best way is to grow is that no-till method too. And you just you don't turn the soil over. He says mulch. He does the mulching and creates a mycelium, whatever that mycelium.
Mycelium.
Yeah, that's it.
Fungal network. That's like the root system of a mushroom. But that's why I say that when you have a garden, you want it to try to mimic nature. So what he's saying is spot on, because in nature, nobody's fertilizing plants, watering trees, and the plants are actually working as a community. Like when you have a garden, it appears to be, one plant competing for another, but that's because the soil is not conditioned like it is in nature. So it's like even like people, if you're like in your natural nature state, you know what I'm saying? You would have that same community type of mentality toward people instead of that competition that you would have with like people outside of you. But it's like that with the garden. Like everything that happens in the garden is it ties into you so much. Like you come from the soil, you die, you go back to the soil. If you study nature, man, it gives you so many like clues about life in general, just so many mysteries and secrets about humanity and life in general, how the ecosystem works, the prey predator type of thing. It's amazing how the garden is. But that mycelium network is very important, because that's like a communication network from one plant to another, from one tree to another. And that's actually a natural fertilizer, and it feeds the plant from underneath. And then in turn, the plant takes the energy from the sun and brings that nutrient down to the root system to feed that mycelium network. So it's kind of like a symbiotic relationship of things happening there, from as above, so below,
Yeah. Here's another thing. When I was a kid, we burned a lot of wood, and we threw our our wood ashes onto the garden and stuff, and I read somewhere too, back in the day, everybody's garden grew real good because they would burn wood or coal or whatever it was, and then they would throw that stuff onto the garden. And now, when you burn all that stuff and you burn it down to that powder, that's what's left is the minerals. Is it not?
Yes. Oh,
And-
yes. And
and-
it is very good for your garden.
Yeah, and it's like, but nobody burns anything nowadays. I mean, we're not out there burning to get a big bucket full of ashes, you had to burn like 2, 3, 4 cords of wood. We burn wood and heat our hot water and heat our house and everything, and you would have tons of ashes. Well, not tons of it, but there's a lot of ashes compared to, how many ashes do most people in the city have? 0.
Can I add something in here too?
Go ahead.
I feel like when you till, you are kind of injuring the garden to some extent. I believe a lot in energy, frequency, and vibration. You know what I'm saying? And the garden, like what you have on top, that's the skin of your terrain. That's like the skin of mother. You know what I'm saying? When you start to rip that apart, it's already starting off on a injured type of playing field. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when you do that back to Eden method, it's such a pleasant way of gardening where the vibration of your garden, the frequency is just so much better. You know what I'm saying? And here's another beautiful thing that if anybody didn't know, aside from like having that, back to Eden method, did you know that when it snows, there's so much nitrogen in the air that the nitrogen actually attaches to the snowflakes and it actually brings that nitrogen down to your soil or to the wood chips on top. And then as it melts, it's actually the most powerful fertilizer for your garden. That's why, aside from everything being dormant, which is reserved energy, that's why in the spring, everything comes up so vigorous and so powerful, is because of reserved energy. But if that nitrogen, which is the main fertilizer that you need for growth, is there, that's where you have a beautiful start to your garden in the spring, and you're more likely to have a much more successful garden in the summer because you have healthy plants from the get-go. You get what I'm saying? Pests, things attack unhealthy plants, and when your plant is good from the start, you deter pests that way. That's a natural deterrent. You get what I'm saying? So things like that are beautiful. And when I found that out, I started to even look at that as far as to how the body works. I made that video where I started to talk about how even the body does this reset through something we call flu season and whatnot. And like this happen, be grateful. These are actually the body's reset. Because notice in the spring, this is scientifically proven that men and women's hormones, your testosterone and hormone levels tend to go up in the spring, right? So the same way the growth hormone in your garden goes up in the spring, and depending on how things were managed in winter, of course, the way your garden is set up is how your body is the same way. It's how you take care of yourself in the winter, how you eat according to the seasons. Your body is literally in tune with nature. That's really going, your body being in tune with nature, understanding the pH, acids and alkaline. But I talked about a little bit about that in my previous video, in my the one that got taken down. But I got into the topic of viruses and whatnot, which that's why I got taken down, which I'm not going to talk about. But it correlates a lot to what happens from, again, as within, so without, as above, so below, from the soil to the above terrain. You get what I'm saying? A lot of such a beautiful, harmonious frequency. And when you look at the word harmony, you got to look at hormones in the body. Hormones is the body. Harmony is your garden. You get what I'm saying? As within, so without. So you got to look at everything. When you observe nature, you're observing God to some extent, like you're working with God. And when you work with God, you know what I'm saying? Everything just perfectly harmonizes because that's harmony. It's growth.
Well, I totally agree with it. See, now being up north here in the north, when I knew about the nitrogen in the snow, because every year when it snows late in the spring, the grass grows so much better than if we don't get one, and no matter how much it rains, the grass always grows better after a snow. And this year we had those, remember we had those big blizzards late in the year, like April, and we had 2 big blizzards in April. And that snow didn't melt here until, pretty much there was still snow on the ground in the middle and end of May. And I remember even taking a picture of a snow pile in June, middle of June, I forget, I think it was somewhere around the 13th or 14th of June. I took a picture of a basketball size pile of snow in one of the corners of the, buildings or something. And I'm like, holy cow, it's still melting, So all of that nitrogen, no wonder why we had such a good hay crop, good gardens.
Right.
All of that was pushed into the ground late in the year, and then plants just soaked it up.
Right. Now, here's the thing, though. Your garden is like a business. You know what I'm saying? You can have this business thrive by having it flourish and work for you, or you could be a slave to the garden or to the business. You know what I'm saying? I have my garden set up like nature. Again, nobody fertilizes or waters the plants in nature. So everything's set up in my garden where I'm not worried about the pests. I'm not worried about watering as much because, again, it's like my business is working for me. I'm not a slave to the land. Like a lot of people become slave to the land because of it's just a little bit of lack of knowledge. Once you have a little, it's not even knowledge. A lot of it is intuitive. Like you literally become the garden. Like a lot of people are always so busy doing research and looking for things outside. Sometimes you just sit with your garden and you can walk, you walk the garden, obviously, right? And when you walk it, you're walking it like you're a CEO of a business. You know what I'm saying? And the plants actually respond to you because they recognize you as in the Bible, it tells you have domain over the land, all the animals. Believe it or not, you walk your garden and they recognize you as God. You get what I'm saying? Because you're taking care of them. No different than a child looks at their parents as a form of God because they take care of them. Like anything you depend on to some extent, like people depend on the government, the doctors, put your faith in doctors. Anything you put your faith on, of course, it's kind of like God to you because God is more or less like authority, in my opinion. You get what I'm saying? It's more like you take that and it's a frequency. You know what I'm saying? You frequency and everything just starts working for you, because it's a harmonious frequency. Now, there was a quote here from Amber, do I pull weeds?
Yeah, I'm going to get to that.
From the garden. I pull the ones that are like obviously right there. Like, if they're not like you could rip them up like you rip out a piece of hair. It's not going to hurt anything. But if you're there digging holes and, making a big mess, then obviously that's not something I want to do. I'd rather just, and for me, it's too much work. Again, I don't work too hard in my garden. I'd rather just keep it simple, put a piece of cardboard down, throw some wood chips on it, boom, call it a day. It's going to take care of the problem rather than me having to go there and rip things up. It's too much work for me.
She's talking about this dodder, Dodder, dodder. I don't know what dodder is. Is it a certain kind of weed? Because I think that's what her garden's full of. She says, I'm about to spray poison on my because of dodder, and is that like a certain, it must be some certain kind of weed. She's like, I think she's in Arizona. And so there, might be a certain type of weed out there. Yeah. But what do you suggest?
Okay, so here's another interesting fact. I don't know if anybody believes this, but it's up to you. Whatever if you walk your garden, like if you're truly one with the garden and you're deficient in something, your garden recognizes your deficiencies to some extent and will start to grow certain weeds for you to use from the land. You know what I'm saying? This is actually a very, very interesting thing to look into. Because again, a lot of people have different methods. Like they'll pee on their plants.
Oh, yeah.
Before they, they plant, they'll put the seed in their mouth and then plant the seed. This is reading your DNA, but it actually reads certain deficiencies that you may have. So your garden is giving you certain weeds. And don't forget, when you don't till, the important part about this is that certain weeds grow and the roots, some of them are so deep that they bring up all these minerals, and you actually use these leaves for different things. You can use them for compost. You can use them for dressing on top of certain plants to give them more, like for example, dandelion leaves are very high in calcium, and that's because the roots are so deep. It's bringing all that minerals up to the leaves, right? So you don't even have to dig. See, that's the whole thing. Like a little bit of knowledge. A lot of people think they got to dig real deep to get into those minerals, but it's just these plants will actually do it for you. So whatever your garden is deficient in or you're deficient in, just like observe nature. Look at whatever weeds are coming up, and those weeds may have certain medicinal properties or certain elements that are very important for what you're missing in the garden, or certain things that you may be deficient in. So start making little teas out of them, start making concoctions. You're the priest, you're a scientist, and you're an observer. That's what you're in the garden. You're in the garden, those three things. But you gotta become the garden. And once you become the garden, you are those three things. You know what I'm saying? Like you make experiments, and then, you know, they become experiences. Those experiences now you pass as wisdom to other people. You get what I'm saying? It's not pass me down knowledge, because I feel everything everybody teaches people is just something they read in a book and they've never really tried it themselves. Oh, I heard this was good. But then you start to question them and get to the real root of the actual like thing they're saying, and they can't get to the root of it because it's something they just read. It's not something they actually really experienced it from the root of their information. And I feel that's why everybody should just go out and get your fingers dirty, you know, experiment, look at certain bugs. Why are they there? Why did certain pests come into your garden? Why are certain beneficial ones there? What is the point of them? Like I got a lot of praying mantises, right? Wheel bugs, assassin bugs, a lot of different bugs, but there's certain things that I've actually questioned. Man, I've never seen this. It looks like an alien, you know? And then I look it up and it's there for a purpose. Like everything is there for a purpose when you're really observing the garden from God's point of view, not as a human. Humans want to know things by communication. Sometimes it's just a frequency and they come up as ideas, hunches, or inspirations and things that just happen. And that's a communication that you're having with your garden, you know? And sometimes you make videos based on that too.
So here's daughter. Okay. Look at this stuff. I'm pretty sure this must be what she's talking about. It's a parasitic plant. Look at this. And it wraps its little fingers and it wraps itself around everything. Oh boy. Parasitic daughter transmits singles among. Oh geez, look at what it does to this. This is horrible. I bet you this is what her garden looks like. Look at that. I don't even know what to do with that. Yuck. Yuck. What? Look at that. Oh man. Covers everything. Yeah. Amber, I hope your garden isn't this bad. Look at this is horrible. I wouldn't know what to do with it. You'd take hours ripping it out.
Right, but I mean, you don't let it get that out of hand. You know what I'm saying? When you see things like this happening, I mean, you can take action. Those you want to pull out from the roots, but I mean, look at that tree. I mean, who lets that happen in a garden?
Yeah, you know I know. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Wow, look at this. This is terrible.
Yeah, that'll happen in nature, but it won't. I mean, if it happens in a garden, you're just not walking the garden, you know.
Yeah. Well, but anyway, I wanted to share that with everybody because I didn't know what daughter was, and Amber, yeah. You know, obviously she does. I don't have any of that here, thank goodness. We got other things, but not that. Grandpa Brian, you got any of that stuff there? You ever see that before?
No, I have never seen that.
No.
So yeah. That was the first time I ever heard of it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it must be.
I've seen some parasitic plants also, but I've never seen that one. I mean, there's a lot of different plant species. I mean, different places are going to have different things, but you just got to, you know, address it. Again, you're a business operator. You got to walk the garden.
Yeah. She says they have no roots. Yeah. Because they're a parasitic plant. They're living off the plants. You can't pull them out by the roots because they'll kill the plant. I mean, they're coming up. Their roots are in the plant. That's the thing. Wow. I don't know what to say there except that sucks. But I guess you might have to resort to some sort of poison and then just rip it all out, but don't let it come back. And if you see it, just, you know, catch it right away. I guess that's the only suggestion I could think of. I mean, if you have it in your garden next year and it starts coming on, I guess, you know, it's better to sacrifice one plant and pull it out before it catches and gets to all of them or something. I don't know. I'll have to research it a little more. But
you know, a lot of these plants will come up sometimes with an imbalance of pH. Don't forget, like, it's just like the body. Your body will get certain parasites and certain worms if you're in balanced chemistry. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to keep the soil healthy and the plants healthy. Like I said, there's certain ways to do this by composting and having everything pH balanced, because when there's an imbalance of pH, it's like the body will get parasites in the body the same way. But there's also a way to get rid of parasites in the body through detoxification. And again, there's
I was gonna say, do we have parasites? Like, do we have worms? Do we get worms? Am I parasitic right now?
everybody has parasites.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Okay, and are those good parasites? How do I tell if I got good parasites or bad parasites? I mean, is there something I should be eating to get rid of those? You know, I know like wild horses never get worms because at a certain time of year, there's a plant that grows and they eat those plants and they worm themselves. That's why wild horses never get worms. But if you keep a horse in, you know, at your house and he's in his pen and stuff, he'll get worms and you got to worm him twice a year.
Right. Now, there, for example, like with parasites, you set your terrain in your stomach depending on what you're eating. And if you're eating certain things and you didn't have those parasites, you'd have a big problem because those parasites actually help you break down the food you're eating. You know what I'm saying? But it's also very important to, you'll know which ones are bad and which ones are good. Like you got constant cravings for like fungus foods like cheeses and breads and whatnot, and it's out of control, then you have an infestation of horrible parasites, you know, or like, you know, bacteria that's not beneficial that we would call gut yeast. But you shouldn't have addictions to certain things. That's when you know things are out of hand. But again, to really address that, it's going to take some discipline because you're going to feel uncomfortable with these withdrawal symptoms that, you know, these things actually kick out a chemical to make you feel like you have to have them. And again, that requires a little bit of discipline, and some herbs will get rid of that. Like I grow wormwood and that's mugwort. And that's actually super beneficial. I don't drink this all the time. I actually drink it once in a while, but I actually drink certain concoctions when I need them because a lot of the things are medicinal. Like people hear garlic or, you know, onions are good for you. That doesn't mean have it all the time. You know what I'm saying? They're good for you, but they're good when you need them. Certain herbs. I have a video that I put up called Tea of the Gods, and it's basically my own concoction that I intuitively put together, which is basically wormwood, basil, lemongrass, cannabis leaves, because I grow cannabis as well, cinnamon root stick, which I boil first along with the licorice root, and then a little bit of Irish sea moss, and this is basically a whole concoction that I actually have, and it's so good because I actually take some of the hibiscus flowers and I throw it in there, and then I squeeze some lemon with a little bit of raw organic unfiltered honey, and the drink is actually a magenta pink color, which is crazy. So I'll drink it warm like that, but then the whatever's left over, I put it in the refrigerator, and it's the most refreshing like drink you can have. But you feel such an ease, especially in your midsection, like your solar plexus. And you know, everything you do it with intent because this is liquid. And, you know, the same way you have the, you know, that Dr. Emoto experiment with the rice experiment, the water, you could program everything, and everything that's water is programmable. You could bless it or you could curse it. Now, of course, with intent, I have an intent behind why I drink things. This is where the whole concept of prayer came in. You intake it into your body, depending on how you receive it is how it's going to work for you. You know, that's why a lot of people like even gaining too much knowledge and then they go and embark on certain things, like they'll eat bad foods or whatnot. Just the knowledge of you knowing that it's bad for you and then you eating it, and it's like you're cursing it the moment you're putting it in. So now you have to really be disciplined how you're eating. You get what I'm saying? Because now you know too much. Sometimes there's a fine balance between saying ignorance is bliss, but ignorance is not bliss, because there's always going to be a chemistry. It'll just hit you faster if you know that it's bad for you and you're taking it in and you're having this food above you saying, oh, this is bad for me and I'm eating, you know? You got to really have a little balance between everything that you're doing. Again, you're a priest, a scientist, and an observer at the same time.
Organic Intelligence says you should do a video showing how to make that.
How to make what? The tea?
The tea, yeah.
It's called Tea of the Gods. You could see the ingredients on there. And yeah, I can make a video showing exactly how I do it. But basically, it's very easy. What I have, don't boil the herbs. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to boil the water. And the only thing you have boiling in the water is the cinnamon sticks and the licorice root. That's what's boiling in the water. When the water's boiling, you take it out, let it simmer a little bit, and then you throw the herbs in there. The ones I have in that video, Tea of the Gods. and then enjoy. Let it sit there for 10 minutes, and then enjoy. It's phenomenal.
You do have a video on it. It's called Tea of the Gods.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to. Let's see if I can find it. But anyway, yeah, keep on going. I'll find.
Yeah. Gaza says blueberries get rid of worms. Blueberries are one of the most nutritious berries. I mean, here's the thing. Those berries are actually shaped like glands in your body. And the way that your body detoxes is these glands, for example, working in firing on all cylinders. Mainly is the lymph nodes. The lymph nodes have to be in proper functioning order. You know what I'm saying? Like, if your your lymphatic system is backed up, then you're not eliminating waste. And then this is where the problem starts to occur in the body. So these berries, these powerful, dark, astringent foods like grapes, watermelons, and berries and all that, I mean, they're powerful for that reason because they cleanse your system out. So yeah, I love blueberries. Blueberries are, again, one of the most nutritional berries you can find out there, along with blackberries.
All right. Well, hang on a second here. And I have found it. Okay. And there we go, everybody. Oh, shoot. I forgot to hit the sound. Yeah, hang on a second. I got to redo it. I screwed it up. And share. There we go. There's your video, Tea of the Gods.
All right, so somebody asked me about the concoction drink, the drink of the gods, on Instagram. So I basically will put it on video. I'll show you the combination of things I just picked from my own garden, but it's gonna basically be mint.
The video's not playing.
It's gonna be lemongrass, and this smells delicious. I
can hear it, but the video's not showing. I can just hear my voice, but the actual video is not playing. It's just like a black screen.
Okay, well, thanks for telling me that. I think I got the right one. Okay, optimize for video clip and share. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Every time you cut into that, it smells so citrusy. This right here is purple leaf basil. I got that mixed with the sweet basil over here. And this literally tastes so good.
And mint,
even just eating it by itself, it's like...
You grew the mint yourself?
I grow all that myself.
Basil type of flavor. This one's got more of a spicy kick to it. This right here is mugwort or wormwood. We have 2 pieces of licorice roots, and then I have a cinnamon stick. And then what I do is I basically take this and boil it. Not really boil it all the way. Basically get it to a simmer. You don't want to boil it all the way. I feel like it kills the nutrients and the herb and whatnot. So I basically get it to a simmer, and then be just not boiling all the way. And then what I do is I let it cool off. And I like this drink cold. I put it in the refrigerator, maybe some distilled ice cubes, or distilled water ice cubes, and then you can pretty much dress it with whatever you want. Sometimes I add lemon and a little bit of honey, and sometimes I may even add just a dash of like cayenne pepper. But those are things you can add if you want to dress it up. But this alone just tastes very, very good. Like once you drink it, it tastes so refreshing.
Mint there, it should
and the beauty thing is you can grow all this yourself. Wow. Like the more you cut, the more it just grows. Like I got a little bed of the mints here, and I basically cut from here. See how it looks bald, and over here it looks fuller. I mean, within a couple of days, this just folds up again, and then I go over here and I cut from there. This side right here may look like this, and then it just keeps filling up. But the more you cut, the more it grows. Matter of fact, these things like to multiply everywhere. As you can see, sometimes I have to pull them from the roots, because if not, they'll invade the whole thing. So I put these cement bricks there, just so I know this is the only place I want them. So if they start to grow anywhere else, I literally just do this. I just pull these things out from the ground, and it doesn't take me long to do that. I could just pull it out, and then
that's the base. That's the mint or the basil.
Put a little bit of compost here if I want to slow that growth or whatnot. I have plenty of compost over there on the other side, but I just want to give you an example of how it would look.
Grandpa Brian,
See, like
did you ever
even a
grow
vine
mint?
like this would try to like spread up to here and grow roots and keep multiplying. So you just got to keep them, you know, monitored and under control. You could also add some parsley to it,
Yeah, parsley.
which wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, I've got a lot of parsley growing back there as well. I've got another little batch here. I normally don't, but I may this time. But you can grow these things. They survive frost, even if you're in an area that survives frost. All these things that I cut survive frost, with the exception of the basil and the lemongrass.
Lemongrass is
so
gonna grow. It's just grass.
I know I said I grow all these in the yard, but the licorice root and the cinnamon is not from my yard. Everything else is from my yard. I'll show you the wormwood real quick. This is the wormwood. You basically just keep snipping, and as you can see underneath, you got new growth, you know. So this would be like everything I've used already. This one is one that I had, and it's basically tired out. I want to see if it comes back next year. And that's about it. You know, that's chocolate mint. I don't use the chocolate mint. I just use the regular peppermint or spearmint.
Wow.
And I think that's about it. That's all I wanted to cover. So
Well, there you go. Very good video. Thank you for making that wonderful video for us. Grandpa Brian, did you ever grow mint?
No, I have not.
I have never grown
I haven't
mint.
really tried growing. Yeah, the
looks
only
like it
spice
grows like
I've ever
crazy.
grown was cilantro.
What do you use?
It did look like it grew.
Yeah. What else do you use the mint in? I've never had mint, so I don't know what I'd do with it if I had it. Do you just like, can you eat the leaves, or you got to cook it or put it in stuff, or
Make teas out of it.
You what?
You can make teas out of it.
Tea.
It's actually very good for people if they have asthma, if they got bronchial like narrowing for some strange reason due to allergies and whatnot. It's actually phenomenal, but combined with other things, it's amazing. You know, it really does wonders for, like, let's say if you have stuffy nose and you start to do you inhale the vapor after you steam it. I mean, it's also very, very good in that sense too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Huh.
it's got a very nice taste to it too. It tastes like mint.
Yeah, obviously it tastes like mint, but that's something I've never grown. Next year I'm going to put that on my list to grow that. It looks like it's really easy. Truth Seeker says I grow plenty of mint, can't keep up with the growth. And
They grow aggressively.
it grows aggressively. Grandpa Brian, you going to put some mint in next year?
Oh, probably not. I already got a lot that I'm putting in next year. I'm doing celery, artichokes. Just
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try. I'm going to try the mint. How about that?
Yeah, mint is great, bro. You grow mint. Grow it somewhere you want it to grow, but somewhere you can control it, because it does take over a whole bed, bro.
Yeah, it looked like you had it in them rocks and it was just spreading like crazy. Yeah. But, you know, if I can use it for a tea, that sounds real good, you know, or something like that. I hope everybody else can go out there and do it and give us some updates on, you know, their new tries. And here's the big thing. We're doing all this because in the future, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I from all the news that I listen to, I do believe something's going to happen. And that something might be a food shortage, might be a medicine shortage. It might be a lot of things. And even if there is, it might be really expensive. Put it that way. And we know all the food in the store is going up. And if you can grow a few things in your backyard, you're way ahead. And this is all important. Everything is important, you know, from the weeds you got to, I got books. I think I sent you, did I send you a book on some wild things? Yeah, which has all, it's great, like dandelion. Everybody's got dandelion. Huh?
It's been very useful.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Edible wild plants. Yes. Yes. There you go.
Yep.
But you know,
very good book to have.
It is.
Oh yeah. That's the one. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
One important little thing to take into account, though. I mean, when people garden with no fear and like just out of love, not out of like fear of like a shortage to some extent. Like do it because it's something that you're doing that's fun to do and not out of like fear. You hear what I'm saying? I don't know. I feel like I've met a lot of people that were starting to garden and they're gardening like around here. I love that they're gardening, but they're like, oh, there's going to be a food shortage. I don't know, man. And they're just they're gardening, but kind of stressed out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's how mind control works. Like they'll have, like you're creating your reality every day. But if somebody puts something in the news and they'll have you believe it so much and have you reacting to it a certain way, then this is a form of mind control. You get what I'm saying? Like, of course, there's things happening. It's going to happen, but it may affect somebody personally because of the mentality and what they put out versus somebody that may just hear about it in the news and we're in the same planet, but it ain't affecting me the way it's affecting you by the way you've reacted to it and created your reality around it, you know? And I'm not
and I agree.
You know
I
what
agree.
you said. It's just that I feel like people should do things out of love, not out of fear. Like, fuck what they're telling you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you create your reality.
And that's the thing. Like this year, there's no food shortage in the store. I mean, everybody here has got something to eat.
Right.
But this is the time, what I'm saying is it's a time for us to go out and practice and improve our skills. Like mine, you see my garden, some of it grew real good and some of them having problems with. So now we get all together and we're talking about this, and next year I can make a better garden. And then if anything does happen, I don't have to grow a garden in fear of, oh my God, my carrots better grow or I'm going to starve to death. I'll just say, I know how to grow good carrots. I know what part of the garden they grow the best in, and I'm going to plant them there, and they're all going to come up, and I'm not going to experiment because I might, starve. But I know already. I know how to grow the tomatoes. I know when to plant them. I know where to plant the corn. I know what seed to buy. I know where to plant the radishes. Grandpa Brian, you know that you can plant a second crop in August, which is awesome. You've done that. Now, if I was you and I was there and it was my first time, I would have no idea to plant a second garden. I really wouldn't.
I didn't either. I looked it up on YouTube. When was the best time and what to plant for the fall, and watched a couple of videos, and I was like, okay, this is what I need to plant. So basically, you plant early spring, you plant again come August, September. At least in my area. Zig Zag, you're down in Georgia. Yours is probably a little later. Your fall plant's probably more. Your fall, what'd you say?
North Carolina.
You're down in Georgia, North Carolina, and still down in that area. Your fall plants probably middle September to early October, because you're going to be warmer later in the season than what I am.
Yeah.
So there's you can look up on Google and find out what zone you're in, and it'll actually tell you your plant times.
Yep.
When to plant your fall, spring, all that.
You know what I've got growing that I'm super proud of? I've got avocado trees, papaya trees, and I'm just amazed at the papaya seeds are like this, man. And these trees are enormous. And I actually got a couple of papayas out of them. But the avocado trees is something I'm like mesmerized by. They're such a pretty plant. And it's like 12 feet long right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a year and a half maybe that I started it. These leaves actually have medicinal properties to them also. So if you take avocado leaves, I planted some citrus trees out of seed, and some of course I grafted, but grapefruits, lemons, the leaves, when you break them up, right, they smell like citrus. And when you put those in your teas, they actually have very good medicinal properties. And when you mix that with the mint, it makes a world of difference, bro. But aside from annuals, if you want to experiment with perennials, do that. You know what I'm saying? And then try to build a greenhouse where you can put them. Of course, my papayas and my citrus trees and my avocados, they don't survive frost. So I had to get a greenhouse and put it together, which wasn't expensive. I didn't pay no more than $100. Quality plastic, and then you put them in there and they survive frost. I actually have some videos that some of the plants, I actually even keep them in my living room. To be honest with you, it's so pleasant because just walking by my living room feels like I'm walking in a little forest in the wintertime. So experiment with those, and I there's plenty of YouTube videos on them. But like again, you also have us to ask if you ever have any questions. But those perennials are also something to really, really look into. They're very fun to grow.
Yep. All that stuff is awesome to grow. And Carrie says, hi-fi on the love. Love should always be prevailing motivation for doing those things. And that is true. You shouldn't do it and then go into the garden with a hateful thought to, I gotta grow this crap, because
Right.
you spill it off into your plants, because remember, like you said,
Exactly. They feel your energy.
that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. And you were talking about the Bible stuff, and it's just kind of ironic because I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, well, what did if you want to go to the Bible stuff, God made Adam and Eve, and what were they? They were the gardeners. So he made them to be gardeners.
Yeah.
How ironic. And of course, and if we're the offsprings, all of that, then we're gardeners too. So there you go. Sometimes the Bible does work in our advantage, sometimes to say things. Sometimes it's not so good, but sometimes it has a really good meaning. But anyway, thanks guys. We come to our hour. We're over our hour and some, but I thank everybody for sticking around, especially on a summer's night like this, on a Saturday night. A lot of people got things going on. There's fairs and parades and things to do the next day, and camping trips and stuff like that. But winter's coming soon, and we all need to do our gardens. And there's your cat, one of them mouse catchers.
Hello.
Born in my garden, you know that, which is crazy.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh.
You know what, Zig Zag, if we gave you like 100 acres, you would have so much food you'd be able to feed a city. You would. You'd have stuff growing, or it'd be like, what place is that? Oh, it'd be awesome. It'd be awesome. You'd be in high heaven there. I love it. I got the best gardeners in the world on tonight. This is awesome. Well, Gaza Cav's out there. He's really good too. I got to get you on, Gaza. We got to get you all together here and do gardening, because see, pretty soon it'll be his summer or his spring, and he'll be planting. And because it's our coming winter, and then it's nice to hear about that. It gives me all kinds of ideas for, because it's his winter right now. So anyway, but thank you all for coming. Any last words, Grandpa Brian?
Just grow. Believe you me, everything tastes better when you grow it yourself.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Zig Zag Zilla, what do you got left for us tonight? What's our last thought of the night?
Well, we're coming down with a certain detoxification, which we would call them detox symptoms. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as diseases. They're just diseases. You know what I'm saying? And work with nature, man, and just let things run their course and keep a high vibration and frequency about it. And that's about it. I appreciate everybody in the chat. I'm glad I was able to actually look at the chat this time, because
awesome.
a few times I'm not able to look at it. So I saw everybody that was here. I appreciate everybody. And, it makes me happy to see everybody that participated in the chat.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. And everybody is so nice. And I hope it helped Amber out with her stuff, and she can get that stuff gone. Man, I tell you, I'd hate to. Oh, where is this now? I had a thing. Oh, here it is. Where did I put that? Oh no, I lost it. Oh yeah, here we go. I got this. I hope we can help. That was some help for her, because that was pretty good. I got one last thing, and this is for Mary Wins. She wanted to have me share this for that gal. Emergency funds needed for Janice Sue. I think that's how it's said. If you see this, you can print the screen or do a screenshot, and there you got the information. Okay, everybody. Like I said, if Mary Wynn says it's a good thing, she must be a good person to try to help her out. She's been trying to do this for a few days. So anyway, Gaza says he's planting strawberries. I guess it is his spring right now, so we'll have to get on that. I'll be on the way with the daughter. Yeah, okay, great. Well, everybody, remember, go out, do something in your garden, do something with the neighbors. You know, go and give your neighbor some stuff out of your garden. Make a friend. You know, and life will be good. Share, grow enough of abundance, and share it with everybody. And share your prosperity, and it'll bring you more every day. And so go out, be the frequency you want to receive, everyone, because that's the way the world works. Okay. Night, everybody. Peace.
Good night.
And there. Oh, that was kind of funny.